In the evening of the 16th of November 2024, a 21-year-old waitress from East Kilbride near Glasgow in Scotland answers a text from her boyfriend that comes while she's on shift to say that she's sorry that she can't be with him just then and that they'll have dinner together when she gets home. 2 days later, police find the young woman in her flat with her head in an upright position tucked under her left arm. Other parts of her body have been cut away as well, but the multiple stab wounds that she has suffered are no less evident. Phoenix Spencer Horn, aspiring midwife and thoroughly cherished daughter and granddaughter, fell for the wrong man. And 27-year-old Ewan Methven had actually kept his girlfriend's dead body in their flat for 2 days before calling the police. Now viewer, if I've got you hooked on the story so far, do subscribe, give the video a like, drop a comment when you're ready and donate. Hit the thanks button below, I'll appreciate you. While Phoenix's friends describe Phoenix as warm-hearted and responsible, if somewhat shy, Phoenix's own mother says that Phoenix lit up any room that she entered. Having grown up with her mother and her grandparents, Phoenix used to call or text her mother every day. Her main reason for getting a job after leaving school rather than going to university having been to provide her mother with financial support. While she found her waitressing work at Strathaven Hotel and at the Roasted Cafe in Strathaven, South Lanarkshire, tiring, she always had a smile on her face at work and was a very well-liked employee. Keep in mind, however, that Phoenix's burning ambition was to become a midwife. She loved babies, she loved people, and she had the patience of someone twice her age. At the age of 19, Phoenix meets, at a party, a handsome young postman by the name of Ewan Methven. And the next thing that anyone knew, she was in a committed relationship with the 25-year-old. To outsiders, however, the two seem markedly mismatched, Phoenix being a notably warm and bubbly person, while her boyfriend comes across as distinctly guarded and reserved. Phoenix, however, insists to her friends that when she's with Ewan, she feels seen. Her boyfriend listens to her in a way that no man ever has before, making her feel as if she's literally found her soulmate.
This is what their love looked like on social media.
God, I never loved one like you.
The picture-perfect story where Phoenix Spencer Horn talked about finding her soulmate in Postman Ewan Methven.
Sometime later, however, most probably after the point when she moves in with Ewan, she offers her friends a rather different report of her boyfriend, the man's jealousy and controlling behaviour towards her being just the start of it. Her boyfriend systematically checks her phone, won't let her go out on her own, complains when she works the night shift, and hates that she interacts with customers of the opposite sex. With his vastly mistrusting and paranoid mind, Ewan accuses Phoenix of cheating, and then he cries and begs her not to leave him. The following diary entry of his shows up these very obsessive feelings of his for his girlfriend. Quote, "I can't stand her working the night shift. She's leaving me. I have to do something. I have to keep her." Unquote. Ewan has the markedly childish habit of freezing his girlfriend out for hours on end, only to have, when he's finished ignoring her, a massively angry outburst. Neighbours are forever hearing the couple shouting, but we should all understand that on no occasion are the police summoned to the couple's address. Ewan has since unravelled as a sufferer of anxiety and depression. He starts taking cocaine, alcohol and steroids, sometimes all at the same time in something of a high-powered cocktail, in his effort to bulk up, believing as he does that this will boost his confidence. Seeing her boyfriend spiralling into mania, substance abuse and psychologically abusive behaviour towards her herself, Phoenix starts to distance herself from her family and friends because she has chosen to stand by her man. She naively deems that she owes it to Ewan to help him through his temporary mental crisis, as she sees it. What she also does, though, is to work longer hours and take on extra shifts, less for the money and more for the escape from her boyfriend that being at work affords her. What Ewan texts his girlfriend on the evening of the 16th of November 2024, while she's at work, is the message, "I feel lonely." The man who delivers the takeaway that Ewan orders after Phoenix promises him that they will have their dinner together reports to police after they discover Phoenix's murder that Ewan's behaviour was, at that moment, perfectly normal. Not appearing in any way drunk, high or out of control, Ewan gave the man no cause for concern whatsoever. Likewise, at 9:37 p.m, meaning around an hour and 37 minutes after the delivery guy called by, having since arrived home, Phoenix herself texts her mother to say that she's having dinner with Ewan. Around 13 minutes past midnight, a neighbour from downstairs suddenly hears, coming from Ewan's and Phoenix's flat, a loud thud followed by hurried footsteps. A fitness app on Ewan's own phone, meanwhile, is, at this same moment, recording a sudden spike in Ewan's physical activity. Whatever took place in the couple's flat at that time, given that Ewan has, in the moments that have since passed, been looking for a cocaine dealer, and given that he's now on his 170th visit to a porn site, and given that now, just after 8 a.m. in the morning, Phoenix has just texted her mother to say that she's just woken up, it can't have been anything too serious. And again, a few hours on, Phoenix sends her mother another message saying, quote, "all good," unquote. If there was anything wrong with either Phoenix or Ewan, how likely is Ewan to be casually driving his girlfriend's Vauxhall Corsa around exactly as he's just been captured doing on CCTV? It's now the morning of the 18th of November 2024 and where is Phoenix? The young woman's manager at work is wondering as this lively and chirpy employee of his hasn't turned up, which isn't like her at all. Furthermore, not only has she not phoned in, she isn't answering any of the manager's calls or texts either, and even more eerily, she's now not even reading her own mother's text messages to her, let alone answering her mother's many calls. What on earth is going on with Phoenix then? Why isn't she turning up to work and why is she not answering her mother? And I'm sorry, but what the hell is Ewan doing? Doesn't he know that his girlfriend, you know, the one that he can't stop snooping on, checking her phone every 2 minutes and not letting her go out without him, is meant to be at work at this time, and that, for some reason, she seems to be ignoring the calls and texts that she's been getting from her very own mother? Hang about. The man's just picking up the phone now. It's the afternoon of the 18th. He's dialing 999 and then asking for the police, and in answer to the operator's question of why he killed his girlfriend, an act that Ewan has just announced to the person, he's explaining that his prior consumption of cocaine, alcohol and steroids, which he believes had all been spiked, sent him into a psychotic state, which in turn led him to do what he did. He adds that, having no memory whatsoever of committing his horrendous acts, he no less now feels highly remorseful of his acts. Ewan's acts, if you want the detail, include the stabbing that he did to his girlfriend's chest, abdomen, neck, bottom and face. One of the stab wounds that Phoenix sustained to her chest caused the acute hemorrhagic shock, massive internal bleeding that is, that killed her. After doing all that stabbing, leaving his victim with no fewer than 20 stab wounds, including as many as 10 to her face, Ewan then strangled his girlfriend using either his hands or a towel before dragging her into the bathroom and literally chopping her head off. He then had a go at hacking off Phoenix's right wrist and right ankle and also attempted to slice her body in half. In explanation of his act of moving Phoenix's body from the bathroom to the passageway, which is where the body's lying when the police call in, he told the police, quote, "I could not stay here with her like that. I tried to dismember her. I moved her from the bath and put her there," unquote. 2 of the 3 knives that the perpetrator used on Phoenix were found lying next to the woman's butchered body. The 3rd was found in the bathroom. There was blood on the flooring and on the walls, which Ewan had evidently tried to scrub away before giving up. By the time he called the police, he had lived with the mutilated corpse of his girlfriend for more than 36 hours. His next door neighbour was, as you might expect, thoroughly horrified to learn the source of the nasty smell that she had coming into her kitchen between the 17th and the 18th of November.
Neighbour Tony Brown lived next door.
Did you hear any noises or bangs?
I had a bad smell in my house the night
The early hours of the morning she was found, basically just before I went to my bed. There was a bad smell in my kitchen, basically where the walls joined together. Horrific, absolutely just, it gives me shivers thinking about it, if I'm honest.
Ewan's murderous acts of violence against Phoenix from just after midnight on the 17th of November 2024 were, in fact, his one and only moment of physical violence against his girlfriend. Phoenix's post-mortem uncovered no evidence of any prior injuries to the young woman. That said, the pathologist reported that Phoenix's was one of the most brutal and cold-blooded cases of murder that he had seen for decades. Furthermore, Ewan's blaming his acts on his consumption of his favourite cocktail, the cocaine, the drink and the steroids, was contradicted by both the delivery rider's testimony and by Phoenix's own text message to her mother that came an hour and 37 minutes after that. Similarly, the perpetrator's post-murder behaviour, including his acts of mutilating his victim's body, trying to buy cocaine, watching porn vid after porn vid, and of course, forging text messages to Phoenix's mother to buy himself some time, aren't in keeping with the behaviour of someone who doesn't know what he's doing. I think you long gathered that the text messages from Phoenix's phone that Phoenix's mother, Alison Spencer being her name, received on the 17th of November came from Ewan. Alison, though, isn't stupid. She knew, even before she heard from the police, that there was something seriously wrong where her daughter was concerned, since the text messages that she received from her daughter's phone on the said date didn't sound anything like her daughter. At 8:12 a.m. on the 17th of November, in fact, before sending the first of his two fake texts to Alison, Ewan actually texted Alison as himself to say that Phoenix hadn't yet got up and that he would get her to text her mother as soon as she did get up. But of course, he couldn't keep up the pretense, via fake text, that his girlfriend was still alive for very long. When, on the 17th of June 2025, Ewan attended Glasgow High Court. He pleaded guilty to his charge of first-degree murder. His defence lawyer, Tony Graham, offered no actual defence, but rather related the remorse that, according to him, his client had shown, saying, quote, "Those related to Phoenix are likely to regard Ewan Methven as the personification of evil. He will not be able to forgive himself," unquote. Sorry, but I find that quite a narcissistic and selfish and insulting statement on Ewan's part, because it seeks to make Ewan himself look like some sort of victim. The man doesn't deserve forgiveness from anyone, including himself, so he's got no right to even mention the matter. Ewan's sentencing took place a month later, on the 14th of July 2025, because, as is quite normal, the judge needed time to both read pre-sentence reports relating to the defendant and to literally work out how long to give the defendant in accordance with sentencing guidelines and precedents, that working out then requiring research. In his sentencing statement, Lord Matthews commented, quote, "You were a trusted member of Phoenix's family, but you betrayed that trust and robbed Phoenix of life in the cruelest way. I have rarely read such outpourings of grief as are contained in the victim impact statements from her family, who have endeavoured to put into words what can never truly be encapsulated. The sadness and the deep sense of loss that they all feel and will continue to feel thanks to what you did. Not content with what you had done to Phoenix, you robbed her of all dignity in death by decapitating her and trying to dismember her in an attempt to defeat the ends of justice. The way you treated this innocent young woman after her death meant that her family didn't even have the comfort of saying goodbye to her," unquote.
At 21 years and 134 days old, she was standing at the threshold of what should have been a long and fulfilling life. I have this morning seen a letter written by you, but it answers none of the questions which must be plaguing the family. You blame the effect of substances, but that is no excuse. I know that nothing I can say or do, and no punishment I can inflict, will ever be enough.
Phoenix Spencer Horn was a person who had the right not to be harmed, especially not in her own home, by someone that she trusted intimately. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister, a cousin, a niece and a friend. She'll now never get to be a midwife, never get to have children of her own, never get to make her mother a grandmother again, or make her grandparents great-grandparents again. And it's all because of the evil and murderous acts of one evil, murderous, selfish and childish man that she made the mistake of falling for. If this video has gripped you, I recommend you to watch this one next. I'll meet you there.